Hello, year three. Okay, we're going to have a crossover today between science and history, and we're going to be looking at two men who helped bring light into our world. So it fits with our topic fantastically. So the first man, as you can see here, that we're going to talk about is Thomas Edison. Before we get started talking about him, have a look at this picture. Can you identify all the electrical appliances in this room? So everything that might use electricity. Have a really good look. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to count as many things as you can that all need electricity. Go. And stop. I think I've managed to get 8. I wonder if you've managed to do more than me. Let's have a look. How many did we spot? The light in the middle of the room, that's 1. The television, 2. The lamp, 3. Oh, extra lamp, 2 lamps in the room. I wonder who managed to find both of those. Fantastic, well done. The tablet, the laptop, the electric guitar, the hairdryer, the mobile phone. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the alarm clock. I'm assuming that's a battery alarm clock. That's why it's got electricity. There'll be an electrical current. So what if there was no electricity? What would have happened in that last picture if there was no electricity? I'll just let you think about that for a minute. What if there was no electricity? How would your lives be different? Though many scientists contributed to the discovery of electricity and the invention of electrical items, one scientist in particular made it possible for people like us to enjoy the benefits of electricity in our homes. That scientist was Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was born in 1847 and died in 1931. He was an American inventor and businessman. Thomas didn't settle in school well because he was very easily distracted. He was too much of a daydreamer and was often in trouble with his teacher. After 3 months, his mother decided to homeschool him instead. And at the age of 12, Thomas began to work on a train, selling newspapers and snacks. He loved doing experiments and even conducted some while he was at work. Edison made his first invention when he was 22. Later in life, he was known as the Wizard because his inventions were so amazing. Many of his inventions were not new, but he developed and improved other people's inventions. For example, he invented a carbon microphone for Alexander Graham Bell's telephone, which meant that conversations over the telephone could be heard much better. Now, light bulbs and Latimer. Edison's most famous invention was the light bulb. However, he did not actually invent it. What he did was, because it had already been invented, Edison made improvements on his design and came up with a design for a practical incandescent light bulb. And Edison's design had a paper filament. So the filament is the middle bit of that light bulb. Can you see the 2 wires sticking up? The filament is the bit that goes between those 2 wires, and the electricity passes up 1 wire through the filament where it gets hot and produces light, and then down the other one. And because he'd made it with paper, of course, it burned out really, really quickly. So Edison and his team worked out to find a better filament so that the light bulb would stay lit for longer and be useful for people. They came up with various options which did last longer than the paper filament it was originally had. However, the groundbreaking discovery of using carbon filament in light bulbs was made by Lewis Howard Latimer. So this is our second person we're looking at today. Latimer's design meant that a light bulb would stay alight for much longer time. Latimer's light bulb design was cheaper to produce than the previous versions, and as a result, Latimer not only made it possible for people to use light bulbs that stayed alight for longer, but the price meant that more people could afford to put light in their homes this way. Lewis Latimer's achievements were incredible, especially as he was mostly self-taught and lived in a time when there was even more racial discrimination than there is today. Do you remember we talked about that a bit on Monday with Martin Luther King, and you watched the part of his speech in the assembly? Before Latimer was born, his parents had been enslaved people who managed to escape from their owners. Latimer received only a few years of schooling as a child, and after leaving the Navy, he secured a job at a company which provided patents for inventions. Now, patents are licenses which give the owner the right to be the only one allowed to make and sell an invention. So if you guys ever invent something, you need to make sure you have the patent so that nobody else can use it without your say-so. Lewis Latimer taught himself mechanical drawing, and as well as helping those he worked for to secure patents, he also went on to invent things and patent them for himself. Latimer's biggest discovery was the carbon filament in the incandescent light bulb, but he also invented an early air conditioning unit and a toilet that could be used on a train. Edison and electricity. So going back to Thomas Edison, Edison made what many consider to be his greatest achievement in the early 1880s. He introduced the world's first truly useful electric distribution system, which could distribute electric light, heat, and power. And this invention made it possible for electricity to be used in people's homes for the first time, and this changed the world forever. Thomas Edison's invention made it possible for people to use electricity in their daily lives. So now it's your turn. I want you to walk around your house and go on an electricity hunt. Now, there is an activity sheet you can print off, or you could just put 2 columns into your book and write a list for me. Can you note down the different uses of electricity you observe as you explore your house? So without Thomas Edison's inventions, your house would be very different. So on the first column that you've got here, just write what it is that you need electricity. And on the second column, explain how that would have an impact in your house. If you didn't have the lights, how would that impact what you were doing in your house? Okay, so there is a sheet to download on the website if you want it, or you could just write electrical item, make a list, and then a list of reasons why that affects your life. Before you go, there's a couple of mixed up inventions here. I wonder, having read everything, whether you can work out what they are. So I'm just going to give you probably 10 seconds to have a look. Some of them you'll know instantly. Off you go. Okay, let's see what they were and whether you were right. Ooh, carbon microphone. That was used in the telephone, wasn't it? Electricity distribution system. That was Thomas Edison's greatest achievement. And the last thing is a light bulb. Well done. Fantastic if you got 3 out of 3. They were tricky words, weren't they? Now, can you describe what each invention did? Just have a think. Can you remember the carbon microphone? Can you remember what the electricity distribution system was? And can you remember any information about the light bulb? You don't need to write anything down, just have a chat to somebody next to you, or even just think in your head. And that is our history / science lesson done for today. 2 very important people. 3-star challenge today is, once you've done your electricity hunt, if you wish to write a few notes about Thomas Edison and Latimer, then please do so. That would be absolutely fantastic, and we would love to read them. Right, year 3, have a lovely day, and we'll speak to you soon.